and welcome to Legal Affairs. My name is Diamond Liddy, and I'm the public defender of the 19th Judicial Circuit. And we are kicking off our season with a wonderful guest, Brett Hall. Welcome, Brett.
Thank you.
Who is the Executive Director of the Mental Health Collaborative.
That's correct.
Yes, okay. Now, we got to find out about all the exciting things that are coming up. Unfortunately, mental health problems and issues are, oh my gosh, rampant right now. I mean, we've got all kinds of things going on with so many people. But and October is going to be the Mental Health Awareness Month. Is that correct?
It's the International Mental Health Awareness Month.
Okay, we're going to talk about that in a minute too.
All right.
We're jumping around a little bit. Let's find out first about you.
Okay.
Before we started taping, we talked a little bit. You're from Chicago, but moved to Vero 8 years ago?
That's correct.
Okay, and what's your background, Brett?
So I'm a therapist by training, and I'm also an MBA in hospital administration. So most of my career I've spent running psychiatric hospitals.
Wow. In Chicago?
In Chicago and in Vero. I ran the Department of Psychiatry for Indian River Medical Center for 5 years.
Oh, wow. Well, do they still have that?
They do.
They do?
It's a 46-bed inpatient psychiatric unit that Cleveland Clinic is now operating. Yep.
Okay, got it. Got it. And so I know this is basic, but some of our viewers may not know what exactly does a therapist, how are you different than a psychologist, psychiatrist, counselor? I mean, what's a therapist do?
Well, that's a great question. So a psychiatrist is a medical professional, and primarily what psychiatrists do, or nurse practitioners, are prescribe medications, much like a physician would do.
Right.
Therapists, psychologists do a lot of testing and therapy, but a social worker, a therapist, a counselor are somewhat interchangeable terms, and they are folks that provide that one-on-one talk therapy and or group therapy experience.
Has the focus, it's funny you bring that up, and we are digressing and jumping around a lot, but I was at something the other day, and a therapist was talking about how the focus of therapy has changed so much over the years, from talking the person through their issues to having them own them more and deal with them. Am I summarizing this correctly? Was she wrong?
No, that's absolutely right. So traditionally therapists were trained to work one-on-one with folks, to really work on their individual issues and their thinking patterns and how they're coping with the different stressors in their life. But as we've evolved as therapists, we understand that people live in environments, so things interact with that. Their work experiences, their home experiences, their families, their social experiences, their churches, their communities. So we really look at them holistically in their environment, their medical condition.
Their surroundings.
Their surroundings, absolutely. So we've really broadened the perspective on that.
Okay, now do you, as the executive director of this collaborative, do you do therapy on the side as well, or no?
I do not. I'm not a practicing therapist.
Okay, so what in the world is the Mental Health Collaborative?
So the collaborative was established 14 years ago by funders, advocates, providers in town to really work on ensuring that anyone wanting or needing access to mental health services had access to those services.
Right.
We wanted to make sure that there was a wide continuum of care in Indian River County, and we've been really wildly successful over the last 14 years. We worked with the McCabe Foundation and helped bring the University of Florida Department of Psychiatry and Addiction Medicine to town. We had too many folks with psychiatric symptoms walking into the emergency room at the hospital, so we brought some people together, had some conversations, did a national search on some programs. We developed the walk-in center and found some funding and spun that out to the Mental Health Association, who's been operating that program since 2007. Now what that program is for 40 hours a week there's a licensed clinician at Mental Health Association where anyone can walk in and talk to a therapist on the spot. So there's some of that crisis counseling, just to keep people out of the emergency room.
Right.
Judge Cox and Sheriff Lohr came to us years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, and said we need to open a mental health court in Indian River County. So we brought everyone together. Sheriff Lohr was very generous with his budget. budget, and we put up some programming together and started mental health court. So that's what we do, is we bring people to the table to talk about what's going on in our community and create solutions.
Good. Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
And you've been doing that for how long now?
So the collaborative started about 14 years ago. They hired me, and it was just a small part-time program under the United Way. They brought me in 3 years ago to incorporate it, make it its own business, its
okay.
own
So
401c.
it's not under the umbrella of.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's its
wow.
own 501c3 now. And the only program that we operate, we still do the collaborative work.
Right.
Lots of initiatives with that, but we operate the McCabe Connection Center. And what that is we're the central access, the hub for all programs and services. So we've developed the continuum of care. We have lots of great programs and services. They're not easy to access.
Right.
You make 17 phone calls, you leave messages, you play phone tag.
Oh
it's
my gosh,
not easy
yes.
to access. So what people come to us, about 100 people a month come to us, and we help them figure out what they need. Do they need a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist or substance use treatment or housing or transportation, or what do they need? We help them figure out what would improve their lives, and then we get them to those programs.
So you're actually bricks and mortar now?
We are bricks and mortar.
Okay, and I know, and you know, many of our viewers are not in Indian River County,
Right.
but your particular bricks and mortar is located in Indian River County.
That
but
is correct.
Is it only for Indian River County residents, or?
You know, we're right in the middle of Indian River County, so most of the folks coming to us are from Indian River
Right.
County. We'll help anybody that picks up the phone and gives us a call. So
Okay.
nobody is excluded.
Okay, and what, if you know, what would you say is your twin or whatever that is located in the other areas of the Treasure Coast? Is there anything
Right.
like this collaborative in the other counties?
I wish there were, but unfortunately there are not. We're
Okay.
pretty unique in the work that we do. What would be the closest equivalent is we're really the bricks and mortar, the face-to-face, like 211 is for this community.
Okay, I
So
gotcha.
folks in this community can call 211 and get access to who's the therapist in town, or who are the psychiatrists in town, or what programs are in town. But what makes us a little unique is we're not going to give you some numbers and say good luck. We're going to make the appointments for you. We're going to make sure that we,
Oh, wow.
based on your insurance or no insurance, or money or no money, doesn't matter, we'll get you hooked up with the provider that treats that specific clinical issue. We'll make the appointment for you. We'll make sure that you have transportation to get there. And if you need to, we'll give you a reminder call to make sure that you're getting there.
Wow.
And now here's a great stat. So if somebody needs to see a psychiatrist within 5 business days, or they'll likely end up in the emergency room or inpatient psychiatry or a Baker Act or something.
Or, you know, suicidal.
Or worse,
Yeah.
or worse than that. We've gotten an appointment for 150 people in the last 2.5 years within 5 business days with a psychiatrist.
Wow.
And that just doesn't happen. You can't get an appointment with a primary care physician in 5 days, let alone a
No,
psychiatrist.
that is great.
Yeah.
Well, now, if I am from St. Lucie County and I call you, and we're going to put your number, you know, on the screen
Sure.
at the end of the show, do you know the referrals to make in St. Lucie County?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. So, which is wonderful.
Oh,
So we can, anybody, any River, Stewart, St. Lucie,
Absolutely.
they can call your collaborative. What is it? What's the bricks and mortar called?
Well, we're the collaborative, but this service is called the McCabe Connection Center.
Oh,
we're
okay.
connecting the
Okay.
community with the programs and services.
Gotcha. So they would call the
McCabe Connection Center.
and they could get referrals to wherever.
Absolutely.
Wow. Oh, that's fabulous. Now, so the initial funding obviously came from the McCabe Foundation, correct?
Certainly. We don't charge anybody for anything. So, and we operate very inexpensively, very efficiently, I should say.
Right.
So our funding comes from the Indian River County Hospital Taxing District, the United Way, and a couple of private foundations.
Okay.
So,
But
yeah.
the startup money came from McCabe's?
McCabe's and others in town. United Way.
wow.
Yeah, right out
Oh,
of the gate. The United Way was
Terrific.
there. Yeah.
Where are you located?
We're on
Brett?
14th Avenue, 2345.
Oh, so right near the
14th Avenue.
courthouse.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now let's talk then about, and I have more questions about this.
Sure.
This is wonderful, but you're wanted to be here, and I'm so glad you're here because October is the International Mental Health Awareness Month.
That's correct.
What does that mean? Tell us what's going on with mental health. Kind of give me an overview.
So that just means it's our month a year that we're going to make sure that we're getting information out to the community and to the public about everything mental health related. You know, we're working on 7 different initiatives to educate the population about what is mental health. And people have a stigma that's attached to mental health because they don't understand it. And we're afraid of things that we don't understand.
Now, let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Do you really think, we talk about the stigma oftentimes. Do you really think the stigma of mental illness is as prevalent as it used to be, or not?
I think it's getting better. I think every generation it's getting better. But we still have a strong stigma in our older communities and even our middle-aged communities, that folks that still think that I don't want to talk about it. I'll pull myself up by my bootstraps and I'll be fine. I just need to wait this stuff out. And that's not the case. You know, the average time between symptom development of mental health issues, depression, suicidality, anxiety, the average time between symptoms starting and people getting into treatment is 10 years. 10 years. You wouldn't walk.
Wow. Now I've never heard that. I know you're telling the truth.
Absolutely.
But whoa.
So if that's the average, there's some people that never access services. But you think about mental health is just another form of health. You wouldn't walk around with a broken leg for 10 years. You wouldn't walk around with untreated diabetes for 10 years. So why would you walk around depressed for 10 years when there are wonderful treatments out there that can alleviate your symptoms quickly?
Well, part of it too, Brett, don't you think, is just, you know when your leg's broken.
Correct.
You know, you don't know if you're just not vibrant or whatever, that's a depression or a form of depression and you could be happier or healthier, or, smile more. I mean, what's the smile quotient? I mean,
Well, everything's on a continuum. I put everything on a continuum from 0 to 100. So I have some depressive symptoms. Maybe today I'm a 10, and maybe tomorrow I'm a 15.
Right.
But when I'm a 40, there's no reason to do that. And what makes it a mental health issue is when it impacts your relationships with others, your job or schooling, when it impacts your livelihood.
Well, give us, let's actually give the audience a checklist.
Okay.
Because I think that I've never heard one. I mean, when do you know, again, when your leg's broken.
Right.
But what are the 6 things to look at, or 10 things, or 3 things, whatever, that makes something, I need to talk to somebody, I need to maybe get some help. What are the things?
General, with everything, we'll talk about depression, anxiety, everything.
Right.
When it impacts your health.
Okay.
When it impacts your work, family, when you can't go to work, when you're missing work, when you are skipping family obligations, when you don't go to the family birthday party because you just don't feel good, when it impacts your family, your work, and or it impacts your health. Those are things that now it's your symptoms have increased, and now you need to see a professional.
Okay.
So that's the kind of your checklist. And with depression, it's, am I sleeping more or not sleeping at all? Am I eating too much or not eating enough? Is it impacting the way that I interact in my life? Am I not getting enjoyment out of my life like I used to? And if the answer to those questions is yeah, then maybe we need to take a look at that and start with, the first, for moderate to mild depression, the first line of defense is always therapy. It's not medication. You don't want to jump in and just take medication. Medication is supposed to get you over the hump. And there are some people that need to take medication for the rest of their life. But when people start usually on an antidepressant, it's just to get them over the hump while they're in therapy and start to move on.
But hasn't there been a rise in taking of antidepressants?
Well, of course, it's real easy when I don't feel well and I just take a pill, then I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Therapy is the hard work, when you have to go in and actually talk with somebody and figure out, what's going on in my life and
Right.
what changes do I need to make. That's work.
So what's the protocol? If someone's really pretty depressed, what generally is the prescription? Do you get therapy first, and then if it doesn't work, start taking meds, and then do both? Or
So it changes. It's very individualized. So first thing is probably get screened out by a mental health professional. The walk-in center at the Mental Health Association is a great tool for that. Or go in if it's mild to moderate and you're still meandering through your day and you're still doing okay. Probably therapy is the first place to start.
I see.
Then the therapist can determine, this might be a little more significant than we thought, and they can refer you on to a psychiatrist. But if you are having significant depressive symptoms, you're not able to get out of bed, or you're spending your whole weekend in bed and then dragging yourself up Monday morning, if it's really impacting your life, then I would refer them to a psychiatrist, or start with a primary care physician.
Right.
You have a relationship with your primary care physician, go in and say, I am not doing well, and this is what is going on in my life.
Yeah, but are they equipped? And we don't want to bash the medical profession,
No.
but are they really equipped to diagnose mental illness? And so answer that.
Okay, so they can screen, absolutely.
Okay.
Every
But
physician
are they
can screen.
equipped to treat it?
55% or better of all antidepressant medications are prescribed by primary care physicians.
Yeah. Is that
And
a good thing?
Well, at least some people are getting attention.
Right.
If it wasn't from a primary care, I'm glad it's from a primary care instead of nobody. So
Yeah.
let's start there. And they can do the first initial screening. We work with the primary care physicians in Indian River County, and they are all really great. They call my office every day and say, oh, I have somebody here. I've been working on them with this, this, and this. It's not working, so now they're yours. Get them where they need to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Phone
at least they have the, And
Absolutely.
obviously, again, I'm not bashing physicians. I just left an hour ago a bunch of them, so
Yeah.
I think they're terrific.
Yeah.
But I can see where a doctor would want to help. Well, it's just like you go in, to a cardiologist, but obviously his specialty or her specialty are hearts, but they find out you got diabetes.
Right.
That doesn't mean one doesn't preclude or exclude the other. I mean, he
Absolutely.
certainly can, help you with the other symptoms. But it just seems, I don't know, in my experience with my profession and what I do have done for my life, it just seems so specialized.
It is, but the primary care physicians can determine, is this an early onset or is this mild? Can I start treating this, see if we get some results, and then determine who can go from there.
And they can call you and get
absolutely.
it and
And
say,
they do every day.
okay, and you say, I don't know, let's
Bring them on in,
yeah.
we're going to get them screened out, and we're going to get them where they need to go. Psychiatrist,
great.
therapist, whatever, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about mental health. What events or what's,
Okay. So we're putting on the first annual mental health awareness event. It is Food Truck Frenzy, Feed the Soul.
I love it.
Feed the Soul. So Riverside Park in Vero Beach on October 19th from 10 to 3. We will have food trucks out there, so come for the food, but stay for you.
For the therapy. No, I'm
So we will have lots of providers out there. We'll have Treasure
okay.
Coast Community Health. We'll have the University of Florida. We'll have the Mental Health Association. Lots of different providers. The Substance Awareness Center for different things. We're also going to have the school district will be out there. The Red Cross will be out there. Everyone that touches folks that might have some different mental illness. We're going to do some different interactive stuff. So we're going to have demonstrations on Qigong and yoga and guided imagery and meditation, and we're going to help people learn about some of that
Really?
stuff. Absolutely. And then we're competing that day with another event that's very successful called Touch a Truck. Are you familiar? They bring out big fire trucks and dump trucks, and the kids can come out and touch these, great
Oh my
Touch
gosh,
a Truck. It's really,
that is fabulous.
So we're competing with them, so we're putting together Touch a Therapist. But then we figure we probably can't afford the insurance to touch a therapist, so.
Yes, I was going to say.
So we've turned it into Walk with a Therapist. So anybody can go out, and I'll have a bunch of therapists there, and you can just say, hey, would you like to take a walk for 5 minutes? And you can go and talk with a therapist and learn what therapy is and what therapy is not, and maybe how therapy might be helpful for you. So get a free 5-minute little intervention. It's not going to be a therapy session, but you get to meet a therapist and realize that they're just average people that are trained to help you in your time
What
of need.
a fabulous idea. No, seriously.
No.
Because if you've been fortunate enough not to have mental illness personally, not to have family members with mental illness, and you don't know what a therapist look. I mean, I bet you there's some people watching saying he doesn't look like a therapist to me. He looks like a real nice guy that I really could talk to. But they have a picture in their mind of the stock with thick glasses and
they're reading my mind.
Yeah, right. So lay down on the couch and I mean we all have the preconceived ideas. So
walk with a therapist.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, so we're going to have that event on the 19th, and it's just to broaden the awareness of mental health issues.
Right.
Another initiative that we're working on with mental health awareness is, I don't know if you're familiar with mental health first aid. And what it is it's the first aid equivalent or CPR equivalent of first aid, medical first aid and CPR. So what it does is it trains average people how to identify signs and symptoms, learn what mental illness is. What is depression? What is anxiety? What is a panic attack? What is psychosis? What is schizophrenia? So you'll learn some of those things, and then it will teach you how to have a non-judgmental conversation. It'll teach you to walk up to somebody that you know, somebody that you're concerned about, to say, I'm concerned about you. I've noticed that you've canceled our last 4 lunch dates, or I haven't seen you out on the tennis court, or for whatever reason. And I'm concerned about you. Is there anything that I can do to help out? And have that conversation. Figure out what's going on with people. To listen non-judgmentally, give them reassurance, and get them to the services that can improve their lives. So it's mental health first aid. We started a demonstration project. We were luckily funded by the Fund for Better Mental Health from the McCabe Foundation through the Community Foundation of Indian River County. We've trained 2 instructors in town to train mental health first aid. So we are going forth and training. This is an international program. It started in Australia about almost 20 years ago.
Australia is cutting edge on so many things.
And mental health, they are extremely cutting edge.
Yes.
But now it's international. It's in 25 plus countries. There are more than 1.7 million people trained in mental health first aid in the United States. And in fact, under the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act, the legislation that was passed, the governor signed off on that every school personnel in the state of Florida, from bus driver to superintendent, will be trained in this curriculum in the next 5 years. So
good luck with that. Are they doing it?
They're doing it, absolutely. We're working with the school districts, absolutely, getting folks trained. So
how long is the training?
It's an 8-hour training. It's an 8-hour class.
Okay.
But I'm a good talker, so I make it pretty interesting.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, so if someone, I'm thinking about our folks. I mean, we'll talk after the show.
Yeah.
I know that's great. So the training's 8 hours. If someone who's watching the show wants to get this training,
call the number on the screen, and I'll give you the information about when the classes are, and you can get signed up for it. Absolutely.
And is it free? Is there a charge?
It is. This demonstration project is free, and even after the demonstration project, the only cost that it would incur is you have to buy the book, and it's $18.90. It's less than $20. So the most it would ever cost you, it would be $20 to take an 8-hour class.
So you actually, Brett, learn. I mean, we all know. Well, I don't know we all, but most people know if someone can't get out of bed, or all of a sudden they're eating too much, not eating enough, that kind of stuff. That can be depression. Okay, we know that, but Are there? There's obviously other symptoms.
Absolutely.
For like panic attacks. I
Right.
wouldn't. People will say, "Well, I had a panic attack," or somebody, and I'm like, what is that? I mean, I don't even know
Yeah.
what to look for. I don't even know.
It's a physical manifestation of anxiety. So when we have anxiety, we're anxious, we're nervous,
Right.
we're having. But a panic attack is that physical manifestation. So we're short of breath. We can't catch our breath. Our heart is beating. We're sweating, and it's a physical manifestation of anxiety. And it happens to 1 in 9 people in the United States. It can happen once, or it can happen multiple times. And we teach you how to try to distinguish what is a panic attack, because it looks like a heart attack. Because it's a panic
Okay.
attack or it's a heart attack.
Okay.
If we're ever concerned, we always call 911 on a heart attack.
Right.
But the first question is has this ever happened to you before? And most
Right.
of the time, it's like, yeah, this happens every once in a while. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to help you get through this. And the
So in your 8-hour thing, you learn how to help work with someone and get through that.
Absolutely.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Because
So the-
I wouldn't know what.
Yeah.
No, I mean really, and you
Absolutely.
think we can all put your hug somebody,
Right.
love whatever, but absent just saying I'm here for you, I wouldn't have any idea.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
well, that's what we teach you in the class. And the bigger goal for this is, so we're doing this as a demonstration project, and I'm writing an Impact 100 grant this fall. And if awarded, I want to go forth and train 40 trainers in our community that will go forth and train 25,000 people in Indian River County in the next 10 years.
Well, now that's impact.
That is impact. I would agree. And we didn't just pull 25,000 out of a hat. The goal of mental health first aid is to train as many people in mental health first aid as are trained in CPR.
Right.
That's 18% of the population. So 18% of Indian River County is 25,000 people. So we want to train
Whoa.
25,000 people in the next 10 years.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Believe it or not, I mean, this show goes so fast. Every time I have, especially this is such a fascinating topic. I need you on 3 more shows. We have about a minute left.
Oh,
Is there anything that we have not touched on that you want to give a shout out for, or?
I would just go back to the real tenet of mental health first aid, and that is don't be afraid to have a conversation with people, your loved ones, your neighbors, your people you sit next to in church. Just let them know that it's okay. We talk about breast cancer. We talk about uncomfortable things. We talk about
Right.
hemorrhoids, but we don't talk about depression. We don't talk about suicidality. Come on.
Yeah, that is,
Come on.
hemorrhoids are not life and death, but suicide.
Exactly. So
I
the
mean,
whole point is open your mouth. Start having a conversation with people.
Don't hold back.
Don't hold back.
Don't be afraid. And if they need any guidance, if they have any questions,
Absolutely.
give us the number. It'll be on the screen one last time. We want
217-3663.
Okay, and your food truck frenzy and walk with a therapist is October
19th.
from what to
10
what?
to 3, Riverside Park.
10 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Brett, you are wonderful. Keep up the great work. We all need mental health and help at many times in our lives. So
Great.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.